Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of the peer-to-peer network coding session. Today we're going to go through several changes we need to do. First, the first of these changes is going to be about turning the peer-to-peer network node as a plugin. Okay, so what we need to do is I'm trying to make the second iteration of the peer-to-peer network. So after reviewing the code a little bit and organizing some stuff, commenting, I'm going to go through the ground up again to produce the second iteration. And one of the things that I notice is that we have these peer-to-peer network nodes. I will switch to we have the peer-to-peer network node at the user profile, which is good, but also we need the concept of a peer-to-peer network. Okay, so we already have that. We already have that node. Okay, but we need to be able to save it as a plugin. So that's one of the first things I'm going to be doing now. Why? Because we will also have the possibility uh, to have permission networks. So this node as a plugin will represent an open network. That it could be, we could have more than one. For example, mainnet and testnet. Okay, as an example. But then it could happen that we might need to have also permission networks for when a group of people want to trade together. So they can create a trading group and they can distribute the signals over a private network, a private version of the superalgo network. Okay, so for that situation, we will also need a peer-to-peer network, but with the possibility to access to that network, a private network, only to people invited. Okay, to users who are invited. So we are going to get also into that. And and on top of that, we are going to do the part of allowing each individual network node to have to belong to a certain network, either if it is private or public, or open or closed, or permissionless. So you will be able to have network node belonging to one network or to some other network. And in the case of the permissionless network, we will need some mechanism to invite other people to join that network, or let's say to give permission. More than to invite would be people with permission to access those closed networks. Okay, perfect. So let's jump into that. We will need for this one Visual Studio Code. Okay, I will reuse this one that I already have with the network workspace, which is good for this. So here I have the peer-to-peer network node. So if I go to the workspace, in order to get that in here, I will need to come here and set and touch here, add missing projects. A little bit of a mess. We will get there because all projects are going to be there. And here we have the network project. Okay, we can delete all the others. Just delete the others. Okay. And from here, we can create a peer-to-peer network now. Okay, so I'm going to save this. And I'm going to move this guy to some other place like here, where other projects are. Okay, close it there. So we have one peer-to-peer network now. We cannot name this as mainnet because it doesn't have a configuration. So what we are going to do is add that a configuration to this node. Okay. So I'm going to copy this menu and I'm going to add an editor and the initial values for that configuration here, which is only going to be code name. Okay. And I don't need anything else. Okay, so with that done, I should be able to refresh this. Why is this guy still here? If I had moved it, maybe I didn't save it. Okay, so you're staying there. Okay, just to put it like in a nice place. Okay, so I will save this and move this guy a little bit apart, like here. So what we're going to do is configure this as mainnet. I don't know if they reuse the N or not, so I'm going to just Google it. Okay, it's mainnet. This is going to be mainnet, okay, and we are going to create a second peer-to-peer network. And we're going to put it here. And we are going to call this one testnet. Okay. So Just like that, we have two peer-to-peer networks in the project, mainnet and testnet. Okay, save. Great. Uh, so I'm going to fix this because I cannot have nodes as children of this. We need the nodes to be defined at each profile because the owner of the node is going to configure the node and it's going to give it token power. So the concept that this is going to have nodes is really not correct. So we will remove this from here and we will remove it from here. Okay, so no more children for these guys. It's just one single node. Beautiful. Now, the next problem to solve is how do we make these two guys a plugin? And it's not that easy problem to solve. Let me get this here. If we can see, if you can see, many projects have plugins. Governance itself has plugins. And it has plugins of different types. Foundations have plugins of different types. Okay, but network doesn't have plugins. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a folder, plugins. Okay, so usually the plugins are the same type as the node that is going to be storing here in plural. Okay, if it is asset node, then it's assets, pools, feature, and separated by a dash. So in this case, our asset type is peer-to-peer network. So that means that the folder is going to be but not here. It's not a governance plugin. It's a networks plugin. So it's going to be in plural and separated by a dash. Okay. So that's one of the things you need to do if you're going to invent a new type of plugin in a project that doesn't have any kind of plugins. The next thing that we can do, or have to do, is to go to the project schema file we will go to the project schema file and we are going to take a look at this. This is algorithmic trading project. It has a lot of modules, but I also have a plugins declaration, which means a declaration of which are the type of plugins, and these are plugin types that this project is going to support. Okay, so we have to do the same thing, but at the network project. Governance network. So this plugins declaration, I guess, is at this level. Yes. So we just add. Okay. We just add the type of plugins that we are going to have is exactly the same as this folder. So that is what we're going to add here. Peer-to-peer networks. Okay, these are going to be the public networks, public open networks that anybody will be able to join. Okay, and for each of these networks, there is going to be a different social graph, for instance, and that's what it allows. For instance, the test net to be used for testing, and the other for the real life. Okay, there might be more test networks if needed. Okay, so we have this here. Okay, so far so good. The thing is that this is not enough. Okay, this is not enough. In order for this to work, we will have to scan the code base. My god, I had uncommitted stuff. Okay, I think they have a problem here because I remove this. Discard these changes because I have at this workspace I have what is going on here. Something is not good. I need to disable saving with workspace, this guy, and disable this. Okay. So we will have to scan the code base to see, because there are changes to be done. It's not like we are going to add this here and that's it, and magically we have a new type of plugin. It doesn't really work like that. There are several pieces that have to be set up. For sure, in order to have a guy here, this plugin project I don't really remember how all this works, so I'm going to discover it on the way. But what we're going to do is to search the code base for these kind of plugins. For instance, trading mines. And let's see what we find, and probably we will need to add um, some code at some place. So let's check this out. Trading mines. What I've noticed is that there's no requirement for these plugins types be exactly as the folder name. It would be easier if they are all the same, but it seems that it's not what it happened. So I need a full search of all the code base for this, because I expect to be many places. I expect to find many places where I need to inject this new type of plugin. So in the meantime, we are going to advance. I don't know if I can advance without diverging. So I just wait. Why it takes so long? It's unbelievable. The search in Visual Studio Code is really broken. I have excluded this file. I have the settings to exclude all the files that I need to exclude, but still it simply doesn't work. It's so annoying. When you hit enter, there is a difference that if you just put the stuff there. I don't really understand why. So anyways, this doesn't look to be finding actually. Because here we have a comment, and here we have something that is not related to this. Okay, so it seems that we will need a node type like this. And here there is like a mapping. Okay, so this is a mapping of nodes to support the migration. Okay, we don't need to do that because we are going to create whatever we are created in the right place. So, but here it's telling me that at community plugins, we need a node of the type of our plugin. Fine. What else? So we'll go to community plugins project. Schemas. Okay. And we'll create a new one here. New file, plugin, peer-to-peer network.json. Okay. So what we are doing is creating stuff that is going to be needed for this plugin API map, plugins tutorial. Okay. So in our case, this is going to be plugin peer-to-peer networks. Add missing plugin peer-to-peer networks. Peer-to-peer networks. Network, and the icon is called peer-to-peer network. Action project is community plugins. Okay, we will need to add a function there. So this is to delete and name plugin files, array of plugin files. So pay attention to this property name at parent. Okay. Plugin trading mines is plugin peer-to-peer networks with both P capital letter. And these are compatible with plugin project. So what is plugin project? is this guy. So here we need to add, interesting. We need to add a new type of children that is going to be called Plugin Networks, one node, child type, the child type is going to be plugin peer-to-peer networks. So I'm very careful not to make a mistake here. Okay, so I'm adding one guy there, and it seems that this is one per project. So I will add the network project here, code name network. Icon name, is there an icon called network? If not, we will add it. And we are talking about icons here. Yes, there is an icon called network. Okay. So all these settings seems to be done. Now, what I'm going to do is follow my instinct here, because I need this action to go somewhere. So what I'm going to do is to search for this action to see who is the guy processing this. And it is this guy. You are a community plugin node action switch. So we will need one more of you and add it at the end. And we are going to put this new action that it doesn't exist yet. Probably I will move it upwards to where the other similar actions are. Right here. And it's going to have a function add plugin peer to peer networks. Okay. So we will check where we have to create this guy. And it's here. So we will add a new function here. And we are going to add a similar function to this one. And we are going to adapt it. Get Project name node, the project name blah blah blah. This is probably the folder name that we are using with dashes. Networks, our names arrive. Here is where the mapping occurs between the folder name and the plugins types definition of the project schema, but in our case it's the same. I don't know why foundation here. Okay, this is network project. API map is a plugin of foundation, tutorials of education. Okay, so this kind of should work. Still, I suspect that there might be hold on, there's something strange here. This is the plugin type. So it's in singular. Networks, API map, tutorials, tutorial, learning engines, learning engine. So I think that our is peer-to-peer network without the dash, the node type. I suspect there are more changes somewhere. I will search for these API maps to see where else this is located. This is where we are. Plugins, return API maps. Okay, here there is another stuff. This is like a mapping also. So we will add here for peer-to-peer network. We will return peer-to-peer networks. What else? UObject from node. This was the okay. This is another place. Foundations plugin, governance plugin, miscellaneous plugins. So we will add a new category here. Network plugin types is only one. Okay. Plugin tutorials, no. I guess that this is Hold on. Okay, we did this one. Plugin learning systems. So where are we? Node action switch. We did this one. Okay, so this is the property we need to use. In our case is the last one that we add, property name. We object from nodes is going to be this, this, and this. And the name is going to be peer-to-peer networks. Okay, so we got this cover, we got this cover, and we got this cover. So that's all the places that it appears. So that's probably it. Um, that's probably it. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to just make a backup of this mainnet, and I'm going to come to here and drag this here to here, and we're going to call this guy mainnet.json. Okay, it's the most simple plugin of the whole system. And we're going to come here and back up this guy and take it to here, and this is going to be called testnet.json. Amazing. So I'm going to save this and refresh this page. But before that, I'm going to delete these guys. Delete and delete. Because then I'm going to load them as a plugin. If everything worked well. So coming to plugins, add missing projects. Oops. Now there are a lot of projects. I don't really need most of this. In fact, we're going to delete all the ones that we don't need. Governance I need. I don't need education or this or this. I will need network and not social bots or trading signal or open storage. or simulation. Okay, so this looks kind of good. Add missing plugin types. This is not working. Add missing plugin type is not working. So the only way I can see what is going on okay, so let's follow this. If I hit here, I get one of these logs. So it says plugin peer-to-peer network. The data type is not defined. Okay, so do I have one that is called plugin peer-to-peer network? No, because I failed to put it in plural. Although the type was good. Type plugin. Okay, maybe this fixes the problem. So we save and refresh. Okay, better. Um, I will need an icon for this if I want it to be. So we're talking about the plugins, community plugins, icons. So yeah, we will need plugin peer-to-peer networks. Okay. And this guy will add missing peer-to-peer networks. Beautiful. So it loaded it recognized this. Okay, now it's better. So that would mean that if we save this and refresh, mm-mm, I don't really understand why it didn't save it before. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, there's something wrong here. This, when I do this add missing plugin types, this plugin peer-to-peer networks is not stored or something is wrong, and the reason is that the definition of the child or the property at this node is not correct. So plugin, let's check that plugin peer-to-peer networks, that is exactly this one. Property name of parent is this is plugin project. Okay, the child type is incorrect, is with a dash there. Oh, let's try it again. We're almost there. Okay, now we save and reload. And there it is. There it is. We have mainnet and we have testnet. There are the plugins of the type peer-to-peer network that represent the open mainnet or SuperAlgos mainnet. And this is the open SuperAlgos testnet network. Okay. Beautiful. That's how you do a plugin. So let's recap for a while. Recapping. Okay, in this episode, what we did is that we acknowledge that we need a node that represents the open peer-to-peer network, because we are going to have also permission networks. And so we use these ones and we configure the system so that peer-to-peer network can be a plugin. And we need them to be a plugin so that it's publicly available and as a public plugin, so that when we have our users, our network nodes, then we can reference these guys if we want this network node to belong to one of these networks. Okay, so that is exactly the purpose. So yeah, that's what we did. Okay, so let's going to continue um, with the next points that are: how do we connect our network nodes there? There's another thing that we need, is that we will need, like these peer-to-peer network nodes, we will need to allow each user to create their own private peer-to-peer networks. Okay, so where are we going to do this? um, we're most likely going to create a new type of node that is going to be side by side with this guy. Okay, so so this node is a node that belongs to the network. So we continue the work here. Now we don't need this JavaScript file or this plugin stuff, because all of these already work, and we're going to even commit this. Okay. Sorry. So we need this guy, peer-to-peer network nodes. It seems that for some reason I put it at the governance system, which is not really very clever. I will need to move these guys. How will I do that? Now I need to move these guys to the network. Hmm. I'm not sure. I'm not sure I need to move them because somehow they are inside or very much embedded into the governance system. Okay, I'm not going to move it now, and I'm going to create a very similar node to this. But it's going to be called I'm checking if my spelling is good. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a template for this. Okay. Oops, no, no, no. Okay, so permission, peer-to-peer network. I don't know if I need yes, I will need one. I was talking about the configuration. Probably in this case, permission peer-to-peer networks. I don't need a configuration for this. Oh yes, I need it because I will have a percentage to diverge token power. Okay, so that's leave it just like that. Okay. So we will put this like this. This way we have a child like this. An array of permission peer-to-peer network. Wow. Okay. So what else? This is going to be a user profile. That means that the user profile, we need to add this guy as a possible children there. What we can have here is permission peer-to-peer networks. And property to check is this guy. And that means that we can have here, or we must have here, which the property name is going to be this. And the node type is going to be equal to this. Okay, so that will add a node permissioned peer-to-peer networks. Okay. Then we need a child for that. So this is going to be singular because it's going to represent each network. And we will use this guy as a template. Here we will remove this S. And the parent of this guy is going to be this. So it will attach to this. What else? What else? It will have the same property name as parent, and this one is going to have as a child we need a way to define the permissions, meaning which user profiles we are going to allow into this network. Okay. So, wow, a lot of stuff to do. Permission peer-to-peer network. So this is not going to have a network node because each guy defining a network node at their own user profile are going to reference this permission peer-to-peer network. Okay, that's how it's going to work. Okay, so the children of this, we are going to call them permission group. Permission group. Because we are going to create, we are going to allow like a folder structure. A permission group can have as child other permission groups, so that people can organize the permissions to the network in different like folder nodes, and eventually reference a profile from any of these folders. So It's going to be a permission group. It's going to be in governance. Okay. So what I'm saying here that this is going to have as children an array of permission groups. Okay, cool. Um, what I do want to put here is some initial values for the configuration. Like for example, code name. Why the initial value of this is localhost? It shouldn't be. So code name. Okay, sounds good to me. Now we are going to create another node that we're going to call permission group. We will use this as a it's going to be a permission group. Mhm. This is not going to have a code name. Or maybe it has. Not sure it's going to be needed, but we will leave it there. So the parent of this guy is going to be this, but at the same time, a permission group. Okay. This is the property name at the parent. And because it can add other permission groups, then you can create like a folder struct. Beautiful. But at the same time, we are going to allow to have this node to have a kind of child that are going to reference the user profiles that actually have permission. How are we going to call that node? I don't know. Permission granted. So permission granted. We will leave the configure because of the token power. Maybe it's needed for something. We will see. This is not going to have children, so no menu there or no child here. Permissions granted is the property name of the parent, and the parent is this guy. So the parent is going to have an add permission granted, and a new type of children for this. Child type permission granted, and the property name is going to be permission granted. Okay, so with this we have all the nodes that we probably need to have our own permission peer-to-peer networks and to grant permissions. There are a few details. First, I will need more icons. So let's copy this name and we will go to the governance project, icons. Okay, then we will come to this guy and we will have an icon for this. Then we will come to this guy Okay, so we have the icons. The next thing that is missing is that we need to be able to attach to reference user profiles. Okay, so for that we will need not attaching rule but referencing rules. Referencing rules, compatible type is a user profile. We're going to give access directly to different user profiles and whatever is coming out of there. Perfect. Something similar we will need at our peer-to-peer network node, that we need to be able to reference from here a permission peer-to-peer network Um, no, I'm going to make it more explicit because I would like to see which is the network that I'm connected to, or that this node is going to be connected to. So is a peer-to-peer network reference is a new node that I would need. Okay, so this is not something that I need. Seems there is a duplication of the concept of the peer-to-peer network node. With between the one that is a governance and the one that is at the network. Hmm. Community plugins. Can close this. This guy seems to be duplicated, and it's probably not being used anywhere. So I'm going to delete it, and if something doesn't work, I undelete it. So what I want to have is then a child of this guy that is going to be a reference to a peer-to-peer network. So yeah, I'm going to call it peer-to-peer network reference. We create this kind of reference node when we want to have a very explicit visual clue of who are we referencing, okay? So I'm going to use another kind of a similar node. We said the name of this one is going to be peer-to-peer network reference. I just can delete it, and we are going to use the reference parent as a title. And that attaching rule is going to attach to a peer-to-peer network node. And referencing rules, this is going to reference a permission peer-to-peer network. And also just a peer-to-peer network. Okay, permission and a peer-to-peer network. Property name at parent is going to be called peer-to-peer network reference, and the parent is going to be a peer-to-peer network node. And it's going to have only one kind of these children, which type is exactly this one. The name at parent is this one. We are going to put it in here. This is kind of necessary because it wouldn't work without a reference, meaning the node, the peer-to-peer node, would not belong to any network in particular. So this is good. So the last thing that I will do is to create also an icon for this guy. Okay, so it seems that we have it all. Seems that we have it all. So let's try it out. To see if our setup is good, we are going to refresh this. We have our plugins, we have our profile, and I'm going to add this node, Permissioned Peer-to-Peer Networks. Okay, and I'm also going to make myself sure that this doesn't change the token flow, because we are in the process of voting these days. So I'll keep that in 0. And from here, oops, it's not a peer-to-peer network node that I need to add, but okay, permission, peer-to-peer networks. What we need to add here is not a network node, but this. Okay, so we will save this and refresh. So add a permission peer-to-peer network. Which I can call, I don't know, for example, like this. And here I have a permission peer-to-peer network. So on the other side, my network nodes, I will add a peer-to-peer network reference. Okay, peer-to-peer network reference. I don't have that icon, peer-to-peer. Something is strange here. Peer-to-peer network reference. Okay, and here I can choose which network I want this node to belong to. Okay. So okay, that is working except for the icon that I don't know why the icon is not there. I will have to check that icon. Peer-to-peer network reference. It doesn't declare an icon, so it should use an existing icon from here. Okay, I don't know why. But the next thing I wanted to try is to give permissions. So add permission group. And this permission group, we can add another permission group. Just like that. And from here, I can add the permission granted node that is going to allow me to, why only my profile? It's the only one here. Okay, so I will grant my profile access to this network, to this peer-to-peer network. I just need to copy this stuff into the permission granted. So that it uses the reference parent's name, no name as a title here, or the title, however you want to call it. Permission granted to myself. Okay. So the only thing that is not working of everything I did is this icon. It would be awesome if this would be working. Peer-to-peer network reference. Let's check that now. Peer-to-peer network reference. What's the difference between these? It's really surprising that the icon doesn't appear because by default the type of the node is the name of the icon. And the type of this node is peer-to-peer network reference. There is no icon property set, so it should come here at governance icons. Could it be because peer-to-peer network nodes, I was thinking because maybe these have two dashes, but this has two dashes too, so there's no difference. Why? The problem that tracing Y and node in all this mess is not being shown is really complicated. But it's for sure something to do with the configuration of this property name and parent. So which is the parent of this? Okay, here's the problem. We are saying that the project is open storage and is governance. So let me refresh this stuff. So add peer-to-peer network reference. Now it works. So this is going to be pointing to testnet, and this is going to be pointing also to testnet. Okay, so there it is. I guess that to finish this session, we still can do a small push so that I don't have to deal with these nodes at the next video. So we're going to save this or commit it. We're talking about um, okay, this is working. So probably the last thing to do is related to the network nodes to define which are the services, the network services that we want to be able to run. Okay? Okay, so we'll add a few more stuff. We'll not need this. Permission network, permission group, permission granted, peer-to-peer network, user profile. Okay, we don't need anything from there. So what we need is at each node we are going to add one child. So and we're going to call it network service. And this is probably not belonging here, but I will put everything here and we'll take some other time to move everything to the right place. So network services is a type of node that we will need, and we will need other. Okay, I'm going to define this directly at the network. Yeah. Okay, network services. Then I will add here social graph. That is going to be a network service, meaning that each network node can be used for different services, and it can run all the services or maybe some of the services. Social graph is one of the services. We will also have trading signals. and we will have a service called online workspaces. Okay, so three type of guys there. Okay, so what are we going to use as a template? Network services. And this is a network project, and it's going to be called social graph. Social graph. Okay. Then we will have a second and a third one. Trading signals. Trading signals. And trading signals. And the third one is going to be called online. This is a project that is going to start soon. Online workspaces. Online workspaces. Okay. So we don't need anything from this. And network services is going to attach to peer-to-peer network node. And the children of these guys are going to be these three: social graph, trading signals, and online workspaces. What is this? This is not right. Available storage. Okay, so we don't need this guy because we have 3 children and 3 menu items here, one for each of the children. This is going to be connected to peer-to-peer network node, and the name of the parent is network services. Okay, so that means that here we can have a declaration of the network services that each node is going to be running. Okay, network services. The storage stuff, I'm going to move it downwards. So here we will have one node, network services, from the project network, and this is going to be true because otherwise no service is going to run. And network services, perfect. So this is going to have one node of the project network automatically added called network services of type network services. This cannot be the last one. The delete is always the last one. Okay, so only one node, network services, network service, network service, and project network. Okay, so here we change to the project network, and these network services will be attaching to peer-to-peer network node with a network services name and have this kind of children. Okay, so far so good. Then we go in here, and this is going to be called social graph. It's not going to have any menu items for adding children, and it won't have any children, in fact. The property name at parent is going to be this one, and the guy they can attach to is going to be this one. Okay, so very simple node. And the other two are going to have the same template. Okay, and finally, the last guy is online workspaces. Online workspaces. Okay, and that's all. So we will need also icons for this, but at the project called network. In fact, we will need four icons because we added four nodes, and we will take the names and put it into the icon names. Okay, so probably it works just like that. I'm going to save this. So what we are doing is that we are enabling the possibility to define at each network node which services is going to run, so that everybody knows that this node okay, something not good. Peer-to-peer network services, but I never said peer-to-peer network services at the network node. It's just network services. Wow. Okay, this was the problem. Add network services. Okay, it works, but it created one guy that I didn't need it. That was trading signals. So network services should have all these infos. Okay. So this means that with this node, I'm going to run the social graph and also trading signals. And from this node, we're going to do the social graph and trading signals. But from none of these nodes, I'm going to do online workspaces, okay? Beautiful. Now this is everything we need at this level in order to move forward and code many of this stuff into the second iteration of the peer-to-peer network. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit these changes. So network services nodes added to peer network node. Okay, so I save my profile and this is done. Okay, so in the last part, what we did essentially is to add all the nodes needed so that users can define explicitly which are the network service they want to run at each of their network nodes. And we will use this later at the code of the network node to start or not these services depending on the configuration defined by users. Okay? And eventually, we will use also this to know to which node a network client can connect or not, depending on what that client needs from the network node. So if a network node is looking for signal processing or distribution, then it should connect to a node that has that service defined, because if it is defined, that means that it's going to be running. Okay. So with this ready, at the next episode, we will go and review our code base of the network node in order to reflect these improvements. Okay, so that's everything for now. Thank you for watching and see you at the next one.